Gnome turns 20.
Solus finally snaps.
Discord begins testing video chat.
And share your terminal for fun and profit.
All this and more coming up. Let's go. Welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we're taking that midweek break, sitting back, relaxing, and talking about the things that we find interesting going on in Penguin Land. I'm Ben Stone, joined every week by this man over here. Look, pointing in the right direction this week. It's kind of brilliant. That's Pedro Mateus.
Hello.
All the way from Space Britannia.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
man, what's been going on?
I have a job.
Are you bringing some Linuxy love to the NHS?
Very slowly. I have suggested it, and my boss said that they have considered it, and they're already starting to adopt many open source systems, not the operating systems yet, but yeah, they are embracing open source, especially on the server side, to cut down the costs, because it's the NHS, and a few other things. But right now, I'm mostly dealing with Windows ticketing issues in the internal help desk, and doing whatever else my boss asks me to do, basically. Yeah.
Not much going over here. I'm just making messes and playing with PC boxes and moving things around that is angering and confusing me. If you're new to this business, go back and watch our 30-minute pre-show for this. It's quite the explanation, but what do we have coming up this week, man?
Well, this week, I think Gnome turns 20. Yeah, it does. So, 20 years. Let's see, August 15, 20 years, 1997. Yeah, it's been a while.
Nice.
And back at the time, yeah, this article comes from opensource.com. Don't worry, there'll be links in for everything we talk about in the show notes. But the author, Jim Hall, actually took screenshots of the most relevant desktops of the time, and it starts with TWM, and then Window Maker, and then GNOME 1, GNOME 2, and GNOME 3.
That foot brings back memories.
Yeah, the GNOME 1, big foot. And then you have GNOME 2, which chances are, if you're using Mate nowadays, that looks very familiar. And of course, GNOME 3 with its all heads-up display mess. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to celebrate 20 years of GNOME. They've been going on a long time. And, 20 years of largely ignoring user input and going out of their way to make questionable decisions and enforcing them regardless.
No.
Is something to celebrate.
You're just hating on GNOME, man. Well, they would never do that. They would never simplify UI design beyond even their most hardcore user base. The only thing I genuinely remember about GNOME was at some point in the early days of Red Hat, they're like, this is kind of the default thing. And my big takeaway from that was I definitely do not have a foot fetish. After seeing that giant foot so many times, in all fairness, I did use GNOME back in those days in the 90s, mid to late 90s. When I just completely cheesed up and scrambled my KDE sessions, which is quite often. So you could say I definitely had some experience using it. Personally, I do believe GNOME 2 got a lot of stuff right. And yeah. I think a lot of people got to use it because, the Ubuntu's got a hold to it. And, behind the purple and poo coloring, it was GNOME 2. It was like, okay, that's a logical layout. I can kind of dig it. GNOME 3, I don't know, man. I've not touched GNOME 3. I don't have any personally reserved hatred for it like some people seem to, Pedro. I'd be willing to try it, but again, old set in my ways, man. It's like I was bored and using XFCE. Well, actually, I started with CDE, but yeah, definitely a thing.
And there goes my camera. So yeah, it's let's see. GNOME 2 is really popular, and I guess nowadays it still is popular thanks to Mate, because that's what Mate is. It's a fork of the old GNOME 2 with everything renamed, so it's compatible. And, you're not even stuck with GTK 2 if you're using Mate anymore. Now you can use Mate and have all the GTK 3 goodies that come with it. So, yeah, you have absolutely no reason to use GNOME 3. And Ubuntu now, of course, decided, yes, GNOME 3 is a good idea. Let's use that.
Hey, I mean, if people like it, if they want to use it, again, that some people just want to. Here's my biggest thing: reinventing the wheel. Everyone seems to want to take a stab. Not everyone. A few select people want to take a stab at doing UI. UI is hard, and
yeah.
We'll see. I just say congratulations to the GNOME project on 20 years, and I hope they get another 20. And they make cool stuff. Keep on doing it, right?
Yeah, except it's missing basic functionality. And from our next story comes something that's actually useful in GNOME 3, which is a third-party tool. Believe it or not. Yes, it's Gnome Connect, or basically a KDE Connect extension for GNOME Shell. So, yeah, it's KDE Connect. If you use KDE Connect, you know of its functionality. If you've never used it, but you've been listening to this show long enough, you have a pretty good idea what it does. And actually, the GNOME 3 extension has basically the exact same shortcomings as the indicator version does, which, well, it basically is not as functional as KDE Connect proper in a KDE environment would be. Because in a KDE environment, you can browse your phone directly from the directly from your desktop. You can reply to texts directly from your desktop. But the moment you start using the indicator, okay, you can send text, you can't reply, so you still have to type out the number of the person you want to text to. Browsing will only work if your phone is running Android pre 5.0. So ice cream sandwich and Kit Kat up to Kit Kat, and then it just doesn't work anymore unless you're using Dolphin with whatever desktop environment. But yeah, it's actually a pretty decent chunk of functionality in a single extension if you have Android phones, obviously. And you still need the KDE Connect app, of course, since it very much relies on the KDE Connect backend. It just doesn't need the KDE kitchen sink to...
That was definitely the question I was going to ask for everyone. Did you have to install all things KDE just to get this one little
You
app?
need a few of them, yes. Like, it's just the teeny tiny things, the KDE backend that KDE Connect hooks to, but you don't need the entire kitchen sink. Although, if you do want to browse your device directly from the desktop, you're going to need Dolphin.
That's the thing, man. I mean, it's neat. I do like the ability to find your mobile and all that fun stuff. But everything I was seeing was, for me personally, just personally, because I have a billion tablets in this house, I always say it's like Deep Space Nine here. Some people get that joke, nerds. All that functionality is built in to all my Google devices. It's like, find the other device. Where's this device at? It gets real spooky too. When there's like, it's in that room. Wow, I can tell by GPS. Got it.
Then you just told everyone that you have a really big house. Stop it.
Not in comparison to the McMansions that are around mine, man. So I don't want to hear it. It's a whole perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Something that kind of caught my eye, and something that is available for Linux, and that's Discord. We do have a Discord room available for patrons. I'm showing it off right now for a hot second. But the reason we're talking about it is they are testing video chat and screen sharing with 5. I think they've added another 5% as of today or last night. But you can kind of see what's going on. They got it there. What are they doing? Basically, they're going to be testing their WebRTC implementation. Well, just a few select users. You get your video chat. That looks kind of neat. And, well, you get your screen sharing. You're going to have the audio. Rolling it out really slowly for the two main reasons of, A, they don't want to nope all their bandwidths and servers, which I fully understand and can identify with that. And, of course, it's going to have bugs. It's WebRTC implementation because, Discord's basically Chromium. And, what are they looking at? Basically a month right now before they're really going to start considering rolling this out to everyone. Does this make you excited?
It's seems to be the logical progression. It was already a pretty good chat client. It actually didn't have a completely horrible VoIP system. So yeah, put in video by all means. Prove to Microsoft that you can do Skype better than they can.
Well, that. Come on, man. I mean, everyone can do Skype better than Microsoft can. The problem is Grandma's on Skype.
Yeah.
I don't have this. Ironically, a good laugh is I was looking in Discord, and our good friend Orn from Bangladesh, a longtime listener of the show, was like, "What's this new video icon?" I was like, "Really? He gets it? Orn gets it? Orn has worse bandwidth than Pedro."
So you didn't get it.
Mm-mm.
I got it.
Again,
I got the video.
Again, man, if I went out right now and got a dial-up account with AOL, it would show up tomorrow, man. That's
I actually noticed it yesterday because I started Discord and the download arrow in the corner was green. It's like, what's that? Oh, there's an update. Okay.
Oh, and apparently Jill's got it too, so sweet.
So I restarted it, applied the update. It's like, oh, the new video functionality. Oh, neat.
So what do we have up next?
Up next, we share our terminals. Yes, over the webs to instantly to anyone from anywhere using Teammate.
Instant terminal sharing, man. Yes, that's right. You heard it here, folks. It's a fork of Tmux. It's kind of only useful if you want to share just your terminal, you know, with like your team, your group, or anything like that. You don't want to do the entire screen sharing because you work at an alphabet agency and you shouldn't be using screen sharing or voice communication clients in the first place. What does it do? You know, basically this thing's going to connect to, they have their own teammate.io web zone, lets you generate a shareable link that you can just send out and like, boom, there it is. And seems, yeah, Yogurt, Packer, I love Packer, for all the wrong reasons, Fedora, Ubuntu, BSD, OpenBSD.
I like how most distros is just the one line and Ubuntu is like 4.
I don't know, man. See, here's the thing. Here's the part I was reading through these install instructions, and this is not terrible. But once you get to that point, it's go to linuxgamecast.com, go to our how-to section. I did like a 3-minute video on how to set up a virtual webcam that you can crop in the X server and do this in 2 seconds and use it with any client that you're already using instead.
This does more than just the screen, though. You can actually share your terminal session to have someone else use the terminal, similar to Google Docs, as it were. It just sets up an SSH connection, and people can either just open up their browser and have a look at what you're doing in the terminal, or they can connect to that session through SSH and work with you, basically.
Oh, okay. I understand that we have a penchant for playing frustrating party games, and I think you've just figured out a new one for Saturday night.
It's Tmux. It's based on Tmux. You can just spawn a different terminal to the side or to the bottom, just split the terminal, and you can be working at the top, the other person can be working at the bottom.
Come on, man. You're messing with me. I'm thinking like Twitch configures the Linux kernel. It's a thing. Come on. All right, fine. Let's get serious and talk about Solus.
Yes! Solus. So it's been a while since we've mentioned Solus, but then again, it's a rolling release distro. So there's not really much we can say. Yes, they upgraded their packages. Cool. And yeah, this is Solus 3. It's the roll-up of all the updates up until now. You get, besides Budgie and Mate, now you also have Gnome 3 fully supported, if you're one of those people.
It has animations. Woohoo. Finally.
Yes. There are animations, and to be fair to Ike and everyone else working in Budgie, that is almost a working desktop environment. It still tears all over the place the moment you start a game, even with the forceful compositing pipeline option in the NVIDIA drivers. It still happens, but it is getting to the point where it's actually usable. And then again, that's not really Budgie's fault. That's more Mutter. So it's Gnome's fault. Let's just blame Gnome for everything. And yeah, no, it's actually, yeah, they routed up all the packages that come pre-installed. They have been updated to their latest versions, or the versions that Ike and his team are comfortable with. Besides the LTS kernel, you can now use the current kernel, and the big kicker, support for snaps. You know how everyone, snap packages. You know how everyone's making flat packs their default nowadays?
No, man, quit spreading fake news, Pedro.
Yeah, so I read this just like, why are you supporting snaps when everyone's supporting flat packs? And then I remembered, wait a second, I tested flat packs in Solus back when they came out in January. Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I mean, I want flat packs to succeed. I also want snaps to succeed, because we've seen what happens when there's just one thing and there's no competition. That doesn't work out well ever in the history of anything, so.
And it's good. It's they're not picking one over the other. Mm-hmm. They had flat packs working because flat packs were already working back in January, and they integrated them. Boom, done. Now snaps have recently gotten to the point where some people are actively adopting it, and there is some software being packaged as a snap that it justifies bringing it to Solus, which is at its core a desktop-oriented distro. It's not for enterprise environments. It's not for servers. It's just a desktop distro. And I like that.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a thing, but if we're on the snap train, we might as well go all the way down the track, right?
Choo-choo! There's another one.
Snapcraft.io, call for testing for GNOME Twitch. That's right, easily browse and search channels and games. You know it's Twitch. If you know what Twitch is, you probably already know what this is. But they would like some help testing out the snappy version of this business. Now, I thought it was an Electron app, but you corrected me.
Yeah, it's WebKit GTK. It's not Electron, but it's damn close. Yeah, it's Python, JSON, and WebKit GTK 2.
Okay. It's a thing, man. If you don't like watching Twitch on your mobile device, your tablet, or an app on your TV, like a sane person, and you want to watch Twitch on your listen, I get it, especially if you're stuck at work. Having something like this be a bit more native than just having Chromium or Chrome open or Opera or Firefox. See, I'm getting them all in there, guys. I could get it, and might as well test it, because you're going to be, I mean, if you're running Ubuntu, you're going to be running snaps in the future, son. I hate to break that to you, so unless you're going somewhere else. And that's the thing, man. I just kind of wanted to spread the word on that and get some more people out there testing it, because, again, I want them both to succeed.
Go figure. But hey, speaking of streaming, how about we talk about some open broadcasting software?
That's right, man. OBS Studio 20 has been released, and it's horrible, and it's blowing up everywhere. Maybe if I say that, it won't crash, because we're using it right now. No, really, didn't have any issues with this business, man. As I furiously get over here to take a look, it's got a bunch of new things that, well, bunch of things that I personally like in it. I mean, being able to unlock the UI, that's great. I mean, you can just take windows out of the dock and put them where you want. Think like, using GIMP the correct way. That is just like that. There's a new dark theme in here, and it is horrendously fugly, but maybe that's your jam. I like dark themes, didn't like this, don't know why. Maybe.
To be fair, in its defense, since Strider isn't here, I'll be that guy. But I did like the new theme, not because of the colors. The colors are absolutely atrocious, but the font. It's actually appropriately sized font, along with the rest of your system. Because the old themes, either the regular one or the old dark one that they had, they just had a fixed sized font that was way too big for me. Now, I may wear spectacles. I do. Here they are. But I I don't want big ass fonts all over my desktop. I like to have space, real estate, since, I only have the two 1080p ones.
Let's see, what else? A couple things. We got the modular down. We got the new theme. Filters, that's kind of neat with the source. After you monkey around with, which I do all the time, playing with chroma key and lighting, as I've been doing this morning, and you get everything set just so, and you actually get to the point. We're like, yeah, all right, we're just extra fail on top of fail at this point. We just need to zero everything out. You can do that.
Artheron brings up a good question in chat realm. Does it work with the NVEnc script?
Yes, thank you, Artheron. You can use the Linux Gamecast Lucha script available when I post this, because I forgot to put it in our show notes right now, but I'll put it in there. That's how I built it, and that's kind of the purpose of the script. The script came to be because I'm lazy, but I'm also efficient. No, that doesn't work. I have a strong work ethic, is basically what it is. And I wanted to get it done quick, so Strider made it all pretty. And it'll work on basically any Ubuntu, 14, 16, probably 7. Yeah, it works on 17.
Probably 17. Yeah. I think Strider built it on 1704.
It will install your Advanced Code stuff, get all that set up, and boom, you just start it up, and it'll run. New thing with the audio meter, if you're clipping like you shouldn't be, it will tell you. And I think that's an excellent feature for anyone new, because they're like, why don't people listen to my stream? And you listen to the stream and it just sounds like screeching and blowing out and stuff like that. One thing, Pedro, I'd like to see them focus on, though, is sorting the window capture, the X-Composite window capture in OBS.
You mean the crash button?
The crash button, the junk button, because that stuff is... Oh, it's just junk, man. I got a lot of words. We try to keep the adult language to a minimum on this show. But, man, I could run off a list to describe that. Because... it's like, oh, you can get around it if you do desktop capture, then crop it. Yeah, not when you're dealing with 3840 by 2160. That doesn't work. And across separate X screens. X composite.
It does it. It can do it. Oh. Just it gets a bit crashy.
Okay, rephrase that reliably.
Not reliably.
Yeah, the reliable way to set up X composite screens each time is to make sure you delete them before you close, then make new scenes once you launch OBS again. OBS 20 didn't change that. That's something I would like to see fixed. Outside of that, it's doing a decent enough job. This next thing Pedro brought up, and he's going to have to spend a full minute explaining why she... what is it, man? PhysFS?
This is PhysicsFS. I don't know why this is here. I didn't put it here. But this comes from Iculus.org and their internal mailing list. Ryan, since he's working, everything's been going smoothly. Damn you, Bagbo. Damn you. Has been going really well with this Patreon campaign and is actually about to hit a new goal if everything goes to plan. So he decided to bring PhysicsFS up to version 3.0. Now, I don't know who it was that put this in the notes. It wasn't me. But it's...
hey, dude,
he says that
I do know something.
Eh?
You want because I thought it was you who put it in the notes. Guess what? Right access to our show notes? About to go down to 2 people. Just saying. Because, I thought you had an explanation. I don't keep track of exactly what this business is. How about you send us some information on it?
Yeah, it's there for if you like PhysicsFS, whatever it is. If you follow Iculus that closely and you think that, this is relevant, let us know. Send us some feedback. Let us know exactly what it is that you think that,
But do please support Ryan C. Gordon on Patreon. Yeah,
do. Actually do, because his Patreon is about to hit the $750 a month goal.
All you need to know is I made Unreal Tournament run in a web browser. Okay, done.
Yeah.
All right, there's your reason right there. That's why you need But no, I mean, most of the aughts and definitely late part of the 90s was the Linux gaming industry. So support those who support Linux.
Yeah, but specifically the $750 of his goals is relevant because he has a bunch of games that he says will never make a profit in Perforce, and $750 is the cost of one Perforce seat. So that means he can work on those games and maybe release them.
That will be fun. That will be interesting. And we've had Icky on the show before, so if you want, go back and give that a listen. I've known him for a few years, and awesome. Good people. So we're done plugging Iculus.
Let's plug ourselves.
Let's plug ourselves.
We're not very good at that.
We're not good at that. We can sell your stuff, ladies and gentlemen, just not our own. Hey, if you like this nonsense, the shenanigans that we do every Wednesday, head over to linuxgamecast.com, hammer that support button, check out some ways that maybe you can kick us a few shekels. We're not doing an advertisement on this, and YouTube's on fire right now. So if you think we're getting anything off YouTube, you can just keep on laughing. We have a Patreon campaign. That's brilliant. We'll talk about that in a hot second. Amazon affiliate links. I can't thank everyone enough for shopping through those. Doesn't cost you a dime. You don't have to do anything but click on the button from your country, and we get a little cut of that action. We have the Amazon wish list. I finally got around to setting that up like last year after 5 years of doing a show, and some PayPal things and magical Bitcoins. That's the thing. And hey, man, Bitcoins, they've completely tanked. So don't go read news. Just take my word for it and just send them all to us. And
it was all over the news like 3 months ago. They tanked. No, just give us. We'll put them to use.
No, but we definitely appreciate everyone who's been helping this out. I mean, this show itself was and still is a Patreon goal. And yeah, man, I'm just absolutely floored. Let's thank some people that hooked us up this week, man.
Oh, yeah. So we have Stephen, who kicked us a few shackles over the Patreons. Thank you very much. He joins 109 other Patreons to give us a very nice total of $216 a week. Thank you all very much. Don't worry, if August is coming to an end soon enough, and if we close ahead of the 200, we're going to put Jordan through Serious Sam 3. That is a promise. And we also have people that will be going to the fine upstanding Cannibals walls, or wall in this case, which is
brilliant, man. Clonky, Eric, he on like the where's this thing at? Derp. So if I move that to there, the wish list that we have, this is basically stuff we're planning on buying, and we just made it public. That's all it is, And I had something on there, getting ready to pick it up, and what happened was I wake up one
Someone
morning,
beat you to it.
and Clocky was like, "Yo, man, here you go."
B350.
B350.
MSI Tomahawk.
The Tony Hawk B350 for our Ryzen new build. It's going to be kind of brilliant. And he also kicked in a USB hub of pain that's causing me physical pain right now. I love it because I'm using it for lighting. And we do have to thank Linux Nero, longtime fan, all the way from Tanzania. Oh, yes. Cooling in our new box of business, Tipsy Danger, will be provided. Cooling from Tanzania. Right. That is awesome. Thanks, everyone. We could not do this without your support. It is pretty wicked cool. So can we get to a slice of pie?
Ooh, that's some fancy pie. Fancy pie. Well, this one, I shared this one on Google Plus a couple of weeks ago, and I completely forgot to add it to the notes of every single show we've done since then. But this is a miniature MZ80K. Yeah, the old one with the tape reader off to the side with a built-in screen. Yeah, they made a teeny tiny one that's powered by a Raspberry Pi Zero. I want it so much.
Listen, I'm looking at this and it's like, all right, this is neat. This is a bit more involved than a lot of these projects, some of which we've covered. That's like, I shoved a pie in a thing and closed it. Look, which is always a good start. We're not knocking anyone. But it is a lot more involved in that, and it's completely well done. But I got to be perfect.
And it has a battery.
Got to be honest with you, P-Baby. If you really want to impress me, you got to make that tape deck work with like the old mini cassettes from the home answering machines and make it load.
No. Someone on Google Plus suggested that very same thing on the comments when I posted it. That'd be freaking awesome. That'd actually be freaking awesome. Just also would make a bunch of hipsters just spend a ton of money on old mini cassettes. But yeah, that would actually be awesome. Now, the person who built it said that because the plastic, yes, it was mostly 3D printed, but then it was all hand sculpted.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that it's way too much work to mass produce it, so he's probably not going to make any more of those cases just to give to people.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, man. He made it very clear at the end. He's like, don't contact me asking.
I'm not going to make you one of these cases, period.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, which his code is, unless you pay me enough.
Yeah, that's, you're willing to pay that much. All right, fine.
Okay, Google, give me a splitter. Raspberry Pi Google Assistant with sleek wood box. Oh,
look, it's Plank.
It kind of is Plank, isn't it? Some people
it looks like Plank from Ant.
Taking a Pi 3 Model B microphone, speaker, LEDs, and all this business, and making your own Google AI assistant. This is different from everything else because this guy breaks out Tanzanian wood. I'm not kidding. It's in the article, which will be in the show notes, and mills this out, makes it fancy. Again, I love this. I love seeing makers make, and I love seeing the combination of, woodworking tied in with Raspberry Pi. It's like, what crazy moon world do we live in these days, Pedro? But it did honestly kind of lose me at the carpentry bits, because it also falls under the neat, but only practical if you have access to that equipment.
If you say you have a big garage or you live near a big garage and you know the owner, sure.
Pedro thinks that the mechanics do woodworking.
No. Garage as in someone who has an actual garage with a lot of tools just going around, both for cars and for wood. But yeah, no, it actually looks really nice. And
they make buggies. Is that it?
They also make buggies, yeah. Right. With wooden panels. I've seen one of those.
All right. I was just trying to give you an out on that one.
But yeah, no. One thing they did was just a teeny tiny detail that I really liked was they hooked one of the GPIO pins, and they also give you the script to trigger it, which is whenever you say, okay, Google, it automatically lights up a teeny tiny LED at the front to let you know that it's listening. That was genius. Well played. Really well played.
Again,
teeny tiny details. I like that.
Little details like that can definitely make project. Link's going to be in the show notes. Yeah. It's really neat. I personally think you could adapt something like this, go back and 3D print everything. Then we just have to find a source for the Fox wood that was on like the 70s Ataris and other electronics. And we build it out of that, and we just print money is what we do after that.
I still have I brought it with me, a mini ITX Intel motherboard that I want to build it inside some weird case and use it as like a discrete server somewhere.
Just like the AI assistant. You remember the 2600 switches? Those big fat clunky
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't even operate with voice. You have to hold the switch up in order to send it command, then clunk it back down for it to process. Oh, man. Yeah, all right. That's brilliant. Yeah. Hey, that's going to close out our show, but we got a little bit of feedback. If you want to get in touch with us, tell the beautiful people how they can do it.
Yeah, it's easy enough. You go to linuxgamecast.com, you hit the contact button on the navbar. It's the one button that says contact. Just scroll down to the forum, since the warning bits are meant for that other show, What We Do. Make sure to pick LWDW from the box and fill out the form. Now, here we take feedback, not just from that contact form, but also if you decide to, say, leave us a comment on YouTube, or leave us a comment on Patreon, or one of the social medias. If it's something pertinent, an interesting question, actual feedback, disparaging remarks about certain members of our family, we'll probably include that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because this week we only had the one.
Just got the one, but I think it's kind of a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't use the form right. No offense.
So it's upgrades, and he's asking about Cirilla?
Let's hope not. What do we have here? Hello, you nutters. Building a budget Linux PC for Christmas and would appreciate a little direction. Ryzen 3 or 5. All right, AMD fan. I can dig that. Motherboard chipset, worth getting an aftermarket cooler. And last but not least, cheap video card. The occasional game would be nice.
1050. Did you get all that?
Were you talking?
Yeah. So, as for the first question, the Ryzen 5, the 1600, you get 6 cores, 12 threads, base 32 or 3.2 gigahertz, and a turbo of 3.6 or 3.7, something like that. Motherboard chipset B350. That's like the default. Sure, you're going to be spending at least $100 on your motherboard, but you kind of want the extra reliability from the... What are the lower end ones? What's the chipset?
The 300s.
300 something, yeah.
I think the 300. You can get away with one of those. 350 is your overclocking and
better quality parts in general, reliability, even if you're not overclocking.
I would say definitely go with a 5 if you're going to go AMD. No, I'm just kidding. Buy a Mac Pro.
Okay, so aftermarket cooler, no. You don't actually need one of those because they come with the Wraith now.
Unless you want to if you're going to get the 350. See, what I'd like to know is what your budget is.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a helpful piece of information. Because, I mean, you can get a Ryzen 5 series. I would say get a 350. If you're getting a 350, you might want to overclock it. Sorry, kids on the internet, that thing does not allow for much headroom on overclocking.
No.
So, you get a Hyper 212. Those things are reasonably cheap now. They have adapter plates.
Here's the thing.
Okay. All right.
The Wraith coolers also have 4 heat pipes, 4 copper heat pipes. And from the comparisons I've seen, it's slightly louder than the Hyper 212. But the temperatures, the delta between idle and load, very similar.
Are you talking about a Hyper 212 in a push-pull configuration?
Just a single fan.
That's not what I'm talking about. Fans are cheap.
Yeah, I do have a push-pull in my Hyper 212 as well. So
the video card, but that Wraith cooler.
1050.
1050, I would say, yeah, or a 750 if you can find one wicked cheap.
Yeah, 750 is the 750 Ti. If you're going to go for the old one, find a 750 Ti. You can probably get one for like $80 nowadays, refurb. But yeah, if you have 120, 130 bucks to spend on a GPU, get the 1050 Ti. That's just no questions asked. That's like a 970 that's solely powered by PCIe.
That is kind of one of the downsides is, we don't have any integrated graphics on any of the Ryzen parts. So,
no, yeah.
Yeah, your APU game you wouldn't be doing much. Well, all right. Jordan's, he's built his Steam machine with an APU, so you can get away with a lot of stuff. But yeah, discrete graphics kind of always throws the monkey wrench in there. You got to get something. So yeah, 1050, 750, go. Just kind of game, you can get away with a lot of stuff with. Just
whatever you do, don't just let your SSDs dangle off the side of the case. No one likes dangling SSDs.
Dangle all the SSDs. That's just the way you do it. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real. We've always had a good time. Thanks for everyone for showing up, and we'll be back next week. If you want to get in touch with me, you can always do that at Vinstone on Twitter, and you can just search Google. You can find me. Come hang out in our Discord chat. If you are a patron and you don't know about it, pop in there. That's where we like to hang out the other 6 days of the week. And Pedro, where can lovely people find you?
Well, you can find me too by Googling. I learned that the other day because one of my coworkers, spell out your name. And he was typing it on Google. It's like, oh, your Twitter account is the second result. Shut up. Oh, crap. Yeah, it is.
You basically, they were creeping on you, man. That's all it was.
Basically, yeah, they were openly creeping on me because they asked me to spell my name. So, that's at unaccounted for on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateus on Google+.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right. We got that set, and I didn't have time for 2 weeks in a row to get credits done.
No, shut up. People at home, the ones watching the produced version.
It's all lies. Don't believe him. He's the wizard of something. Trust me, I really like to get them done because it saves me a lot of editing. But
yeah.
My apologies for everyone watching live. Just imagine credits. They're
Maybe I misread that at first. I'm all about the dangling discs. Let's just say I did not read discs.
Jeez, I was going to go worse than where you were going, and I caught myself.